I also want to hear your thoughts on this ICE agent killing. Second protester in weeks who has been killed in Minneapolis. The only place this is happening is Alex Pretty. He was an ICU nurse. This comes after Renee Good was killed when she was in her car. I've seen a lot of the videos, lots of debate, and as per usual, this is completely what people are seeing, watching the same videos, and it's like 20 different angles. This is what this event was. What this, and it is a tragedy. I'm sorry, anyone getting shot dead who's not a threat to people is absolutely a tragedy. And I think anyone who thinks it isn't, I'm sorry, is quite immorally questionable. No, he's looking.
No, it's not that I think it's not a tragedy.
But this is the thing. People are coming up with their view on whether it was who was in the right and who was in the wrong based on their party allegiance. So you're a Republican, are you a Democrat, are you Tory Reform, or you Labour? I think it's more complicated than that. It seems to me to be really, really simple. It's like I don't know why people on the left are justifying, but basically think themselves progressive. These are Democrat, hard, either hard left or really sort of like they think themselves progressive Democrats who are trying to stop federal agents mandated by the electorate and by the government to carry out law enforcement in their neighbourhood to arrest and deport illegal migrants and criminals. They're largely, the people they're going after are people who are in the country illegally, either before or after they have committed crimes where they are no longer allowed to be allowed in the country. That's it. That is what they're doing. The only reason ICE agents come tooled up like they're Rambo with their faces covered is because progressives on the left have been identifying them, and these people's homes and families, children, have been targeted. Okay, so it's very, very simple to me that these people are carrying out their duties, and it looks like they're coming in all mob-handed. That's because the local law enforcement have been told by the Democrat, governor and mayor, you're not to help. These are sanctuary cities. We're absolutely fine with a load of foreign illegal immigrants who are committing crime to be in this country. Well, I think that's insane. And these people are getting in the way. They are not protesting, they are obstructing. They're blowing whistles, they're in the face of these people. I don't think you should go to a protest and obstruct law enforcement officials doing their job. I definitely don't think you should do it with a gun in your waistband. But I also think very clearly that these agents need to calm the hell down a bit, and they are a bit too trigger happy. I thought the shooting of Renee Good was unnecessary by the agent. I think the shooting of this man, Alex Pretty, was unnecessary. But I understand why it happens in the heat of the moment. And watching a video at 20% speed, 24 hours later, from 20 different angles, is very different from the heat of the moment. Someone shouts, gun. The people on the ground with these ICE agents clearly thought this guy had a gun on him, and they thought the gun that had fired was his. And then they're going, where's the gun? Where's the gun? And this agent goes, I've got the gun. He's already walked away with the gun. But I can understand why that happens. But the simple solution would be, don't get in the way of law enforcement officials doing their job.
Well, yeah, my attitude towards this is it is a tragedy, but if you play silly games, you win silly prizes. This is the United States.
Effed around, found out.
Everybody knows the police, federal law enforcement, everybody has a gun. Why would you insert yourself into a situation where you know these people have guns? You know that they are jumpy because they are being targeted. They're also being doxxed. This is something else that is happening, which is that protesters are finding out their home addresses. They're finding out where they're staying. They're finding their car registrations. They're harassing their families. This is not simply
This is why they hide their faces.
Yeah, this is exactly what. And I've got to say, and this is interesting because, as you touched upon, we're now in an age where you've got sort of 24-hour sort of surround sound. You can see all the footage. Everybody's got their phones out. And it does polarize. It doesn't matter what the evidence is. There will be people who, regardless of what they see, it's like watching a football match. You've got two people saying the same VAR thing. You go, that's offside, and the other one goes, no, it isn't, even though they're saying the same thing. It's a similar sort of thing. But I just have to say, it's that perception, isn't it, of what you think is morally justifiable. Ultimately, this is, as you say, a national policy. These are federal agents. They have the right to do this. These are criminals. What really, in that sense, is different to, I don't know, the US government sending the National Guard into the Deep South during the 60s to say they should be able to go to school, and the Klan saying no, and local members of the community saying, we side with the Klan.
No, but these are the good people, you see. They're the good people.
They're still breaking the law to defend criminals who are violent I don't understand.
But also, there's a clear mandate. Donald Trump ran on that he was going to deport these people. He got elected with a clear. He won both houses of Congress and the presidency. He won the election. He has the mandate to carry out. This is the legal policy of the United States government. I don't understand why people think they've got a right to stop it. Here's my thing. I think this. I mean, it's very interesting. Obama and Clinton weighing in and talking about. Obama's got a bloody cheek, he really does. He said, this is a heartbreaking tragedy, I agree. It should also be a wake-up call to every American, regardless of party, that many of our core values as a nation are increasingly under assault. What the core value of allowing the borders to be completely open and criminals to stay among us in our neighbourhoods? I'm sorry, that's a load of abject, I'm be polite, nonsense. This is about the rule of law. And these so-called progressives and Democrats are basically arguing against the rule of law. President Obama deported under his government far more people than Donald Trump ever deported. But it wasn't an issue for the left because it was the nice man in Parliament, in the White House, not their man. And here's the thing. This has repercussions here. When you've got numerous people on the left, and even, you know, frankly, you know, in the Conservative Party, Priti Patel talking about the Reform Party as National Socialist when it comes to economic policy. National Socialist, you mean Nazi? When we have routinely the Reform Party being called far right, fascist, you name it, by otherwise, you think, quite sensible, moderate people. They are setting us up for a situation where fighting against any policy that Reform brings in, even if they had a full majority, I mean, absolute majority, these were policies they'd put in their manifesto, the right to fight those both in Parliament, because they did it over Brexit, they didn't have the mandate for that, and they did it anyway, and on the streets, is justified because they're fascists, they're bad people, what they're doing therefore is automatically bad, and we are the good people, so right is on our side. We are being set up for these ICE shootings. I know we haven't got as many guns, but things can turn nasty. We are setting ourselves up right now for that to happen in the UK if Reform get elected. Mark my words.
I mean, the irony of all of this is how fascism happens. Because ultimately, and I don't say that in The Guardian, sort of, this is how fascism happens, this is the route towards it.
That is how they speak.
How did Mussolini rise to power? As a bulwark against aggressive left-wing organisations. How did Franco come to power? As the bulwark against a communist revolution. How did Hitler come to power? Because he promised to put down left-wing insurgencies. Oh, you know, with the threat of communism on the horizon. This is literally how fascism happens, when left-wing groups, left-wing politicians, left-wing movements decide, we're not going to play by the rules because you're all evil. And it's not the fascists they're talking about, it's the normal people. It's the voters, it's the petty bourgeoisie, it's the shopkeepers, it's the people who just want their property to be looked after and they just want the laws to be followed. And those people who don't believe in borders and don't believe in this and actively seek revolution, they go, well, we're not playing by the same rules, so we're just going to do what we want. And then that's when the right-wing backlash happens, and those
and then
people
they're always
are
surprised.
Always more violent and more organised by nature, and the government of the day says, please help us, and that is how it happens. And then we're going to sit there and go, who could possibly have seen this coming?
Exactly. I mean, watch it coming. I tell you what's fascinating. The BBC yesterday, 7 stories on this this killing by ICE agents. So on their front page, 7 stories. Yes, they were leading on, well, some of the time, were leading on the Andy Burnham story, which, by the way, okay, is a parochial story. No, it's about who might be the Prime Minister of our country in a few months' time. I mean, it's a pretty relevant, sodding story. But a second person being shot in Minneapolis. And by the way, ICE agents are going around the country. They are deporting, grabbing, huge numbers of illegal foreign criminals off the streets. So only in Minneapolis where this is happening, where you're having these protests en masse. I'm just saying, there's a link there. But the Iran protests, and the death toll, and the emergence that we are looking at on just January the 8th and January the 9th alone, over 2 days, 30,000 civilians, pretty much entirely unarmed. Some of them may have been armed, we don't know, but largely young people, most of them tend to be under 30, were killed, shot dead, beaten to death by the Iranian government and their IRGC. Not a mention. Not a mention. Now, 30% of the internet was back up in Iran yesterday. So actually the videos were coming out, the pictures of the body bags piling high, what's going on. BBC, barely a mention. 7 different stories about one man being killed in Minneapolis. Does that one life matter more? I mean, of course, if a Jew had been involved, then they would have covered it. let's be honest.
If a Jew had been involved, then you'd had a story saying 10,000 Palestinians have also died.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be clear. I mean, did you know, out of curiosity, that the entire leadership of the Chinese military has been arrested over the past fortnight?
Yes, small point worth making.
Yeah, they've been accused of selling nuclear secrets to the United States. Xi Jinping is now in sole control of the armed forces. Did you know that?
The final remaining
because
general.
if you looked on the BBC website, you'd have no idea that the world's second most powerful military is going through its most serious purge since Chairman Mao. You'd have no idea if you looked at the BBC.
Point, our Prime Minister is travelling to China tomorrow, just after a major purge. Apparently, this is like a childhood friend as well of Xi Jinping. This man, but put it this way, Keir Starmer and Xi Jinping can have quite a lot to chat about getting rid of rivals for the leadership. No, exactly.
But it's
very,
a major
very,
story,
very.
and the BBC, you would not know.
And again, and we talk about public service broadcast. This is exactly the sort of thing that you want the BBC. And again, I read all the Sunday, broadsheets. I've seen loads on this. But I mean, again, and it's one of the topics we're going to bring up later in the show because we want to cover these things.